Exodus chapter 24 conclusion. The introduction part, the teaching part, all of it kind of was fast in this chapter. It's not because I'm tired or anything like that. And so it might seem as if there's not really a lot happening in this chapter. But actually this chapter is very important, because what happens in this chapter is the signing of the covenant. Like Genesis chapter 16 with the signing of the covenant between Abram and God. I thought so long on that chapter. And here as well, so therefore it's that same kind of happening. It's a very important happening for them in their history, and that God, the one who brought them out of Egypt, although they grumbled all the way and they didn't deserve any of this grace, God is the one now as well giving them the law, the Ten Commandments. God is the one bringing all the rest, forming them into a nation, giving them this covenant, something they don't deserve. All of this comes from God's side. On their side, they had to say, yes, we agree to this. And they did. They did. And after that, then ultimately, as well, the signing with the blood, the sacrifices, half the blood thrown over the people, half against the altar. The symbolism of the altar is God's side of the signing contract, a covenant. It's not a contract, it's a covenant. Because a contract is different than a covenant. I mean, it's relatable in certain senses. And then the pouring of the blood on them. Grace of God. Because God knew at that stage already that how they're going to mess up. But God knew how they're going to mess up. They're going to say, yes, we'll do everything that God told us. And one of the first things that God told them is that this is a jealous God. And that they're not supposed to make any images of anything in heaven and earth and worship it. Some of those first things that God said to them. And now while God is giving them Moses up in the mountain, as we see in the next few chapters, they are getting anxious and ultimately build a golden calf. Going to make something else while in the presence of God. While they can see the fury, the fire that we see in this chapter on the mountain. And that's not enough to stop them in making this golden calf. But God still knowing all of this on the mountain, He still kept on giving Moses the law and the explanations for how they can build the Ark of the Covenant and all those things, so as to be able to worship Him in spirit and truth correctly. Not in this mountain, not in that mountain. And God still kept on doing this, knowing full what's going to happen. And again, that is the grace of God. It's much at work. I knew this one, the teaching part mentioned this, and I just again need to say how when Jesus signed the new covenant in His blood with us, undeserved enemies of the Most High, and He knew He was going to die on the cross, but He still signed the covenant for people like me, you. Yeah, I mean, that's grace. That's grace. And the sad part is that we know all of this. and we don't, and we still sin. We don't do what we're supposed to do. And then there's lots of people, Christians out there, say, well, that's such a bad sin. No, that's not anymore. Some say that even. But then you see people in need, hospitality of food, anything like that. And you're like, oh, that's none of my business. Because that's not sin. You gossip, oh, but that's not sin. You buy a new car because the neighbor has one. You sell a kidney for an iPhone because it's an iPhone. But I don't sin. I don't sin. Yeah, we justify our sins. We do sin. And even though we know what we're doing is wrong. Jesus told us to go into the world and spread the gospel, make disciples, teach the gospel, make disciples. And 2,000 years later, still people have never heard it. We know what it's supposed to do, but we're not doing it. I was thinking this morning again as well on the way here, how great it is that I can speak to taxi drivers and other people here about Christ because missionaries came here and spread the word and they believe. Why is it we know? We see the clouds. I mean, I look around me, I see these trees. That tree really bending over now and the wind's up there. Here, it's pretty calm, no wind, but up there I see these trees are pretty much swaying a lot. And atheists, we're all Christians alike, we see God is, because there's these things around us. And we know that if God could make these trees and knows exactly everything how they work, something we don't even know yet, with all our advances in science, still mysteries. And why is it so difficult for us? What it points out again is our need for grace every single day. Yes, it doesn't mean we need to knowingly just go and sin and do anything. But still, even then, this fear of God, like for them, it's not going to stop them. Yeah. Jesus in his blood signed the covenant with us. He died, he rose again, and we mistreat him like that. No. Soli Deo Gloria. Soli Deo Gloria.